Chapter 24 of The Clue of the New Pin by Edgar Wallace. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Yoganand. The Clue of the New Pin. Chapter 24. To the left of the vermilion door of Yealing's new house was a tablet set into the brick buttress, inscribed with those words which to the old Chinese represent the beginning and end of the philosophical piety, Kwang Sung Yu To, which in English may be roughly translated, "Let your acts reflect glory upon your ancestors." Yealing, for all his Western civilization, would one day burn gold paper before a shrine within those vermilion doors, and would stand with hidden hands before the family shrine and ask commendation and approval for his important acts. Now he was sitting on one of the very broad and shallow steps that led from terrace to terrace, watching the primitive system by which his engineer was getting ready the casting of the second concrete pillar. About the site were a number of bottomless tubs, hinged so that they opened like leg irons open to receive the ankle of a prisoner. Steel brackets on each enabled them to be clamped together to make a long tube. The first of these was in its place, and sticking up from the center was a rusty steel bar that drooped out of the core of the pillar to be. High above, on a crazy scaffolding, was a huge wooden vat connected with the tub by a wooden chute. All day long, an endless chain of buckets responding to a hand-turned wheel had been rising to the top of the platform, their contents being turned into the vat. "Primitive," murmured Yealing, but in a way he liked primitive things and primitive methods. Down the chute would run a stream of semi-liquid cement and rubble, and the two toiling laborers would pat and shovel the concrete into place until the tub was filled. Then to the first would be fastened a second mold. The process would be repeated, and the pillar would rise. Then, on a day when the cement had hardened, the connecting wedges would be knocked away, the hinge tubs pried loose, the rough places of the pillar of grateful memories chiseled and polished smooth. Crowned with the companion lion, the obelisk would stand in harmony with its fellow. Yealing looked up at the frail scaffolding that supported the vat and the narrow platform, and wondered how many Western building laws he was breaking. The second tub was now brimming with the grey concrete, and a third and a fourth were being fixed. All this Yealing saw from his place on the steps, a cigar clenched between his small teeth. He saw the workmen climb down the ladders from the interior of the new tubs, and he glanced at the sun and rose. A blue-bloused Chinaman, ludicrously handling a fan, came running toward him. "Yealing, we must wait 4 days for the waterstone to grow hard. Tomorrow I will strengthen the wall of the terrace." "You have done well," said Yealing. "I thought you wrong," said the builder, nodding. "It seems so much money to waste. He that is not offended at being misunderstood is a superior man." "He that fears to correct a fault is not a brave man," said Yealing, giving one saying of Confucius for another. The workmen lived on the spot. Their fires were burning when he left the ground. On the roadway was a small black car, a noisy testimony to the efficiency of mass production, and into this he stepped. He did not drive away for a long time, but sat hunched up at the wheel, his head sunk in thought. Once he glanced at the pillar in making, speculatively, as though his meditations had to do with this. It was growing dark when at last he put his foot upon the starting plug and rattled away into the gloom. He left the car at the side door of the restaurant and passed in. "The lady is in number 6, said his personal servant. "She wishes to see you." There was no need for Yealing to ask which lady. Only one had the right of entry to number 6. He went straight to her, dusty as he was, and found Ursula Artfin sitting before an untouched meal. She was very pale, and a shadow lay beneath her grey eyes. She looked up quickly as he came in. "Yealing, did you read all the papers we found in the house?" she asked. "Some of them," he said cautiously. "The other night you said that you had read them all," she said reproachfully. "And you are not speaking the truth." He agreed with a gesture. "There are so many," he said, excusing himself, "and some are very difficult. Lady, you do not realize how many there were." "Was there anything about me?" she asked. "There were references to you," he said. "Much of the writing was in the nature of a diary. It is hard to disentangle item from item." She knew he was evading a direct answer. "Was there any mention of my father or mother?" she challenged him directly. "No," he said, and her grey eyes searched his face. "You're not speaking the truth, Yealing," she said in a low voice. "You think if you think I know that I shall be hurt. Isn't that true? And because you would not hurt me, you are lying?" He showed no evidence of embarrassment at the accusation. "Lady, how can I say what is in papers which I have not read?" Or if I have read, I cannot understand. Or suppose in his writings one revelation is so mixed up with another that it is impossible to betray one without the other? I will not deceive you. She so wrote about you. He said that you were the only person in the world he trusted. She looked her amazement. I? But he said other things. I'm puzzled. It's not a simple matter to make a decision. Some day I must give you a translation of everything. I know that. It troubles me what is best to do. We Chinese have a word for indecision. Literally, it means a straw moving in cross currents. First this way, then that way. My mind is like that. I owe Shiso, Frasmia, much. How can I pay him? He was a hard man, but our words, one to the other, have been more binding than sealed papers, and once I said that I would serve his blood. That is my difficulty. A promise which is now. Here such was his emotion that his English failed him. She saw the dull red of his face, the veins of his temples standing out like knotted cords, and was sorry for him. I will be patient, Yearling, she said soothingly. I know you're my friend. She held out her hand, remembered, and drawing it back quickly, took her own and shook it with a delighted gurgle of laughter. Yearling smiled too as he followed her example. A barbarous custom, he said dryly, but from a hygienic point of view, a very wise one. You are forgiving me, Miss Artfan? Of course, she nodded. And now I really am feeling hungry. Will you send me some food? He was out of the room before her request was completed. It was like Yearling that he did not come to the door when she went out. She hoped he would, but Yearling could not have been there, for he was waiting outside, and when she turned the corner, he was very near to her, though she could not guess this. The end of chapter 24.